Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your weekly update in the Mag 7 for the week of Monday, March 2nd, 2026. We begin with Microsoft. We broke this channel bottom last week, and yes, we closed below it, but I like and really do require the 1% violation threshold for what I would call a more technically reliable sell signal. Meta. Meta has been testing for the last couple of weeks this rising channel bottom, 650.93, and not closing below it, as it did not do so last week, which holds open the possibility for recovery as we continue into the month of March. If we do close below 650.93, that does signal 575.58, the significant channel bottom. This is probably a 3 to 5 week sell-off, if so. If you need further confirmation for that sell-off, you could also go with the recent low at 628.14. Settlement below would be kind of a double sell signal, and then we're probably 2 to 3 weeks away from testing 575.58. This structure able to contain selling through the second quarter, and from here we actually could round up into later year. Until then, continued weekly settlements above 650.93 keeps this out of the sell side, and in turn actually will keep 716.50 in reach over the next 3 to 5 weeks. That high settlement price potentially as we continue into later Q2, the 780s, 790s. We'll be watching this closely, but right now we're not on the sell side yet. With Meta, we would be with a weekly settlement below 650.93, then expecting within probably 3 to 5 weeks, 575.58. On to Alphabet. Alphabet's having trouble rejecting the significant sell signal that played out 3 weeks ago below this rising channel bottom that this week is at 318.31. You also have this 316.50 high of the low. So this is a significant zone of resistance below which the risk does remain to the downside. I'm not comfortable holding Alphabet long-term and a long-term as an investment unless you're willing to endure what I could see as a 3 to 5 month, unwinding into the 230s and climbing this long-term channel top. Given the incredible rally that occurred from, April of last year, this near vertical rally, that looks to be over. And we'll just see how this plays out. I will, as I'm looking at this, point out that the low of the high, we actually did close below that a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to ignore that, but it is nonetheless 306.46. If we close below 306.46, that should add weight to the market. But just know that unless we can close back above 318.31, this is a market to either be out or short, anticipating the 230s and climbing at some point this year, possibly over the next 3 to 5 months. Now, if we do close back above 318.31, then I see this 349.04 high in reach, and that's not actually high. This is a channel top now. So we are bearish below 318.31, expecting the 230s. If we close above 318.31 within probably 3 to 5 weeks, 349.04, this is a solid 3 to 5 week swing trade to the upside. And yes, if we close above 349.04, we're off to the races again into later year. And continue. I don't even have an objective mapped out yet, but I would get busy with that. I do see the continued vertical move above 349.04. Until then, the risk remains to the downside, and I point out 296.12, this pullback low, as the next significant down pivot. So if you're not short already below 318.31, it would be advised to get short or at least exit a long position below 296.12, because by the end of the second quarter, end of the third quarter at the latest, 233.08 likely. On to Amazon. Amazon had a sell signal, if you recall, several weeks ago below this descending channel bottom that was rejected 2 weeks ago. We're kind of in this muddled state right now. I think the emphasis does remain to the upside. When you wind up closing back above this kind of, what is this, a 4 or 5 month channel bottom, as we did a couple of weeks ago, it oftentimes is a sign of imminent recovery or continued recovery that hasn't played out yet. I give you 211.17 as an aggressive upward pivot point now. So if you're not long Amazon, my suggestion is to get long with a settlement this week above 211.17. Within 3 to 5 weeks, this 232.19 then in reach. Downside, can you play the short side below 211.17? I don't think so, given what played out a couple of weeks ago with the settlement back above the structure. But I will say, if we do close this week below 201.64, this channel bottom, that would be the second time in several weeks, then yes, 180.76 likely. So if we're looking through the month of March and into April, we turn bearish again below 201.64, expecting 180.76, where bottom picking can be had through the second quarter and into the third. In fact, we could bottom out in the low 180s through the rest of the year and round up again. Through the month of March and into April, if we close above 211.17, you're long into the 230s. You've got a lot going on up here. 232.19, this former channel bottom, and 240.31, this descending channel top. This is a significant zone that, if tested by the end of April, and we would expect as much with a settlement above 211.17, can contain buying on a monthly, possibly quarterly basis, and is a significant upward continuation point into later year. The 280s then expected within 2 to 3 to 5 months of closing above 240.31. Apple, we don't give a lot of Apple analysis, just basic broad brushstroke, because we provide it as part of our paid subscription at wickedstocks.com. You can see it for free for 2 weeks if you go to wickedstocks.com and take advantage of our 2-week free trial. But bottom line here, for the last year and a half, we've been topping out at a 5-year rising channel top. We did so most recently last December, and below which the channel bottom in the low 190s remains in play. I can't really call this a target, 193.39, but I wouldn't be surprised to see us do this. We've done it before several times over the last 5-6 years, and it remains in play, possibly by the end of this year. On the way down, I've got 214.82 as a 5/8 Fibonacci from the April low against that December high that can contain monthly, possibly quarterly selling pressures. If we do close above 287.46 at the end of this week, which is highly unlikely, you should throw in a 1% margin to the upside above that, add 2.87 to 287.46, and it'll give you probably 290 roughly. Then long term, expecting the upper 380s, full channel extension within a year or two. That becomes an investment grade buy signal with a settlement above 287.46 by a full 1% margin. Tesla throwing off sell signal last couple of weeks below 418.86. This remains our ceiling of resistance, below which this 324.23 full channel extension remains a 2 to 3 month target, capable of containing selling on a quarterly, possibly through the rest of the year basis. Upside, if we do close this week back above 418.86, we have stabilized, no longer expecting the 320s, but rather 473.82 within a month or two. And yes, as we continue into later year, a settlement above 418.86 does allow this 6-year channel top at 535.93, where we could top out on an annual basis. On to NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA we also cover every single day at wickedstocks.com. We had it for several years on our YouTube channel, you may recall. This is broad brushstroke analysis, but at wickedstocks.com we provide daily analysis where we give you day trade, 3 to 5 day, 3 to 5 week swing trade. Right now, as I've been saying now for the last month or two, we have a low 170 support, mid 190s resistance, tradable area. We could continue trading inside of this zone all the way through the month of March. If we close the week, though, below 173.22, we have a significant sell signal to what is now 133.90 and rising into the low 140s by early May. This would be the objective if we close below 173.22. Inversely, if we close above 195.23, we're looking for at least 212.18 and probably more into the 219, 228 region within 2 to 3 months. And finally, Palantir, not part of the Mag 7, but we get a lot of requests for this. So we've been mentioning how this channel bottom, in combination with this high from February of 25, 125.41 to 127.81, is your bottom picking zone of support. Unless we close below 125.41, we are expecting recovery as we move into the second quarter, through the second quarter. Your up pivot right now in terms of buying on strength is a settlement above the high of the low from several weeks ago of 145.87, then expecting the 180s within 1 to 2 months. Downside, if we close below 125.41, we have a significant sell signal through the second quarter. The next 2 to 3 months then likely to test 63, 66 roughly, this low area. Upside 145.87, if we close above it, we do have this descending channel top and former channel bottom in the 180s. 181.39 to 188.67 becomes a 1 to 2 month target where we actually could top out into the third quarter. I think that pretty much rounds it out. I am going to leave it at that for this week's Mag 7 update. You have a great week.